proposal to resume the internal election for 41st Science Club Management Committee. Tony.
Proposal to resume the internal election for the 41st Club Management.
Second for this motion, so Sabrina. We have a proposal to open a portfolio of best director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee. Linda.
Would like to propose to open the nominations for the portfolio of the portfolio of the best director for the 41st Science Club.
Second for this motion, Tony. We have a proposal to open the nomination for the portfolio of best director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee. Linda.
Would like to propose to open the nominations for the best director for the portfolio of the best director of the 41st Science Club Management Committee.
Second for this motion, Tony. Are there any nominations for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Linda.
Would like to nominate Lee for the portfolio of the best director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee.
Second for this motion, do you accept the nomination for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
I am here to data science and analytics accept the nomination of portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management.
Are there any more nominations for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any more nominations for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any more nominations for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? If there are no more nominations, may I have a proposal to close the nominations for the portfolio of best director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee? Linda. Second for this motion, Tony. Lee, you have 20 minutes for presentation and 30 minutes for Q&A. You will begin when you are ready. Please take us to start timer when beginning.
Okay, so hello everyone, good morning. I'm Yiling and I'm running for the position of Best Director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee. So firstly, I'll share a bit about myself. So when I first joined Science, I didn't expect myself to find a community here. I just came in thinking it would be all about studies. So my first freshman orientation project that I joined was SCM back in 2019 as a participant. And then that led me to join SAL as a participant as well. And through SCM, I was scouted as a contestant for Bash 19. Yeah. And then for REC, I was also a floater. Yeah, so so just last year, this point in time, I chose to be the Vice Director of Bash. Yeah. And then for EFOP this year, for SCM Week this year, I was OGL. And now I'm trying to run for the position of Bash Director for the 41st SCMC. So let me first talk about the role of Bash. I think it concludes FOP very well as the final FOP event. And provide a closure for all participants. And then next is a fresh experience. It's something that you only experience when you come to uni. You don't really see something similar back in JC, secondary school. And there's also the crowning of Science King and Science Queen as the representatives of science. So when people look at them, they get a general sensing of, oh, this is how a science student would be like, perhaps. Yeah. So the main purpose of Bash, I see as 3 parts. So firstly, for the contestants, it's a very good avenue to step out of their comfort zone to try something new, and through which they will form very strong bonds within the community, and it gives them like a family that welcomes them into uni. And next, I want to reach out to the science population, add vibrancy to student life, and also provide them an exposure to such events. And I will introduce fringe events that will help boost confidence of the science population. Lastly, I think this is something that BASH has been very passionate about. It's about promoting environmentalism causes, and this is to use our platform for a greater good and to be something bigger than ourselves. But anyway, so my vision for BASH, firstly, I want to elevate our common vision of promoting positive body image to promoting confidence, because that is more as a whole. So then apart from that, I want to push forward environmentalism within BASH more strongly. I want to establish clear identity for BASH and BASH subcommittee. So firstly, for confidence, I think showmanship is something that I took away from BASH. And I really want to promote this for whether the contestants, science population. So very directly, you can see out there, I have BASH night. That is one very direct way of promoting showmanship. Contestants will have to put up a performance by themselves. There will be a segment for talent time, 5 minutes. You just have to come up with items that you want to put up. So it really promotes showmanship and a sense of stage presence, which I think really I learned a lot from it. And Limelight, that's our so-called flagship event. So every year we have a photo shoot event for all science students. Lastly, you can see that there's an intra-faculty talent showcase. This is something that I want to bring for science. And with COVID, there are a lot of events that are cancelled. I want to inject some vibrancy into our science student life. So what this showcase will encompass would be a mini competition. So people will send in videos, artworks, any form of creative outlet. And we'll judge from there. So this is actually to promote confidence within science students, because I don't think there is an outlet for them to really showcase what they have. So next, to focus on environmentalism, I want to promote repurpose on a larger scale. This year we actually held a thrift shop, but that's our first iteration. So I want to bring it to a bigger scale if possible. I know that COVID can be holding us back in pushing this forward, but I will have contingency plans for that. I also hope to introduce upcycling workshops to science population so that they are more exposed to this area, because I think there may be students who are interested in this, be it they see on YouTube or Instagram, but they don't really have an avenue to try out this in their daily lives. A possible way is to collaborate with welfare for their monthly sessions, but that will be up for discussion. And lastly, it's volunteering for eco causes. Perhaps you can go to the beach and collect litter. That is not the most direct way of volunteering, but that's one way you can explore. Okay, so to establish clear identity for Science BASH, I hope that we can change perceptions. We want to portray ourselves as a formal and elegant BASH instead of, that's why we have a lot of decision-making process that are in line with this. And also we want to promote ourselves as inclusive. Okay. So I have a secondary vision for myself and the PUBS team. So I hope that I can drive a stronger artistic direction to bring across a clearer visual identity for BASH. This is because it can gain stronger appeal, whether it's for marketing or for general audience. So these are the few stakeholders that I think I have. And this is in order of, in order. Okay, so I'm here to break down some myths about BASH. Also, the computer is, the timer is down. Okay. So the first myth that I want to break down is that the nature of BASH is superficial. So actually I hear about this a lot, whether it's online forums or word of mouth. But actually, I don't think this is true, because as previously mentioned, I want to shift my focus to building confidence. And we will, as in this is true, even in past batches, but this year I'll promote it stronger, that we are not scouting for looks, okay? So we are looking for talent, we are looking for confidence, and we hope to find a person for that. Yeah. Okay, next myth. So people always say that BashCom is very exclusive, be it subcommittee or the contestants. Yeah, but I think this is not true as well. So this is a stereotype that has been here for very long, and I think it's about time that we shift our minds to take this off. Yeah. So I believe that cultures can change with the people that come and go, and I hope that you all can see that the current Bash committee is actually very friendly, and we are very open to supporting other events. I'm very happy to do so as well. And it's evident in our participation in all the other events and our active participation. Okay. So there are some common concerns that I've heard. So how will Bash hold events in spite of COVID-19? So for example, there will be like Halloween, there will be Valentine's. These are events that will be held with Science Club. So we will have to make a collective decision and understand the concerns behind it and how we want to bring it across. So apart from this, we have our annual Limelight event. This year we had to hold it within smaller groups, but in view of the current measures that Singapore government has put out, I think it may not be possible. So we may have to look at other options. For example, a Zoom photo shoot, because that is a very new way of taking photographs and it's gaining traction. So maybe we want to introduce that to science students, and maybe they will be interested in it and want to further their interest in that area. So I also spoke about repurpose just now. So repurpose involves like thrifting, involves the collection of clothes and buying of clothes, which may not be the most sanitary. So we will have to reconsider how to carry out this segment of our events. Perhaps we will have like perhaps we'll have like a collection spot, because currently there are thrift shops that are shifting online, and if they can align with guidelines that are put in place, I think we can as well. Okay, and then finally there will be the Bash event, Bash night. So this is a very crucial part. Although I think that most FOPs generally hope that, okay, not most FOPs. All FOPs, we hope that in real life events can happen, but we must prep for the worst, right? Yeah. So in line of NUS guidelines and Singapore government's guidelines, we may have to hold it online if we have no choice. However, I don't think that live stream would be the best option to go for, because we'll be booking like a venue for everyone to. We'll be booking a venue at high cost, and we'll be charging everyone a certain price to come for it, even though they don't get the full experience of Bash night. Yeah. So what I will do is conduct perhaps a online Zoom session. So I previously had a small experience with this, with a prize presentation, and it went very smoothly. But I understand these two events have very different nature, so we have to tailor it to fit Bash. Yeah. So for, a few ideas that I've come up with include performances, because we will still be, hopefully we'll still be able to find contestants through the various camps, even though it's online, it's possible, it's done in other faculties. So we'll get them and put up a performance, various performance. So we'll video it, put in quality for production, and then we'll show it to our audience. And then also I'm thinking of having so previously I talked about the talent showcase, right? Perhaps we can release the winners during this online bash, so that it creates some suspense and will attract people to come. I also hope to include like a lucky draw, so that people feel like they are in for something. Yeah. And perhaps I'll invite a guest, maybe a YouTube sensation or some TV personality, hopefully, to come and grace our event, so that students feel excited and want to come for it. Yeah. And definitely not to forget games. I think that is the part where we can attract the most active participation of the students. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so I have another idea. This is still in the works, but maybe we can have, so different from past year bash, we release contestants' photos one by one and all that. So maybe this year we can do something different. We can leave like a bit of mystery in that. So people will want to come and like, oh, so who's this contestant? What kind of talents does this person have? Yeah, a little mystery there. Okay, so that's about all I have for bash events in COVID-19. So this is another concern that I got, be it word of mouth or just it's been floating around. So why does bash not have any contestants from minority races? So I want to fall back on our selection criteria. So we want to base it on talent, personality, and confidence, the way they carry themselves. I think this is very important because that is how people out of science will portray us as lah. Yeah. So the reason why there have not been any minority races, I think it's coincidence, and also moving forward, we will definitely try to be more inclusive, try to include people from different demographics. Yeah. But to extend this further, you can even question like, why do we not have other contestants from every faculty, every course? Yeah, because there are criteria in place and we choose based on that. Yeah. Okay, so that's about all I have. Thank you.
20 minutes, you have 6 minutes and 6 seconds left for presentation. You will share your presentation now.
Yes.
We have a proposal to open a Q&A for the nominee candidate for the portfolio of Best Director for the 41st Science Management Committee. Tommy. May I second for this motion? Linda.
I'm very nice. Hi, Elaine. I have 2 questions for you. So the first one will be a hypothetical situation. During the scouting of bash contestants during SCM, it was brought to your attention that some of the freshmen have discovered that the bash subcommittee members have been secretly taking and passing their photos around, and they have expressed their discomfort. Outline your thought process and course of action. Assuming that it's illegal scam.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Zenda, for your question. So about DASH subcommittee taking pictures of freshmen and making them uncomfortable. Firstly, I think that's something that we need to think about on our part. But on an official front, when they sign up for SCM, they do agree to have their photos taken. So that is one aspect, but definitely to address this on a fuller context, I'll have to consider the freshmen's feelings, because they come to this camp to enjoy themselves, to make friends, not to feel uncomfortable by such events. Yeah, so, but before I address them, I think I want to talk to my committee first. So I definitely before SCM even happens, we'll have a discussion about how we will go about this, how do we try not to make them feel uncomfortable. But if something like that already happened, then I'll definitely have to rebrief them about how we are going to move forward. Perhaps we should, how we should move forward. But this falls back on pre-SCM. During payment, we'll take photos of them. So that is one place where we can fall back if we want to refer to a participant and tell the rest of BashCom like, oh, this person is pretty great, look at this person. Then we can fall back on that photo instead of constantly taking pictures of them, and also maybe word of like we send in our group, like, okay, so this person of a particular group is very outstanding, keep a lookout for her, instead of taking pictures and being creepy about it. So next I will consider the freshmen. For those who raise these concerns, I'll have to talk, whether it be me or the subcom, there must be clear communication that we do not intend it to turn out this way. We don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And I think there should be an apology because it's a mistake on our part that we make them feel uncomfortable in this situation. Yeah, and I hope that we can resolve this in a very peaceful manner. Yeah, okay. I hope that answers your question.
Hi, Lynn, I have one question for you. So it can be argued that one of the reasons why you have Bash contestants in South is to help to sell tickets for Bash. Given that the online situation where Bash will not be physical, what would be the relevance of having Bash contestants in South otherwise? Keeping in mind the fact that having Bash contestants in South would deprive other freshmen of opportunity to attend South.
Okay, thank you, Chaoyin, for your question. So firstly, to address you saying Bash, us having Bash contestant in Sao is to sell tickets for Bash. I think that although it's a reason, I think there's more to that. Bash contestants, they are scouted through SCAM and they have an experience of CAM and they know how, and I hope they have a good experience from it so they can inject greater vibrancy into the camp. Yeah, so that's what I hope would bring for Sao, which is why I think having Bash contestants in Sao, even if it's online, it's reasonable. Taking into account you saying them not being able to, taking away the privilege of others not being able to participate. I think this year, from the EFOP and from EFOP and SCAM Week, we can tell that actually the Bash committee is very enthusiastic about this event, and I hope that through us we can influence the freshmen to be very enthusiastic about the event as well, and to bring great energy to the team instead of what has been happening for the past years, where they will congregate and associate themselves with Bash instead of their OGs lah. Yeah. So another thing, I think, so if it's an online Bash, this is. So if it's an online Bash, I actually hope to hold it free of charge because we will not really incur a lot of event fees, and we do have some budget for that. I'm not sure how much, but I hope that it will be enough to cover. So we don't exactly need to sell. So I think there is no pressure in that aspect, and it's more natural to make friends and all that. And it also helps us with our image of Bash with being more inclusive, because currently the image about Bash is that we are very exclusive. We tend to alienate ourselves from the general population. So I do think putting Bash contestants in Sao is a good idea still, because of the various reasons I've talked about.
I have one question for you, depending on your answer. So, can you first state the relevance of science, king, and queen?
Okay, thank you, Gordon, for your question. So, about your question about the relevance of science king and queen. So, firstly, as I've mentioned in my slides, I think they are the representatives of science. When people look at them, they will be like, oh, okay, maybe this is how I perceive science to be. So, the reason why they are the representatives is because people from other faculties, it's very, in a way, natural for them to check out our BASH page to find out more about science instead of looking at other Instagram accounts, because that is in a way less relevant to them. I hope, yeah, as in not, I hope, but as in it's less relevant to them, in my opinion. Yeah, yeah. So, because we have a greater exposure, so when people look at science king and science queen, they'll form a perception lah. Yeah. And I hope that is the image that we want to portray. Yeah.
So for my follow-up question, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the science queen and queen is not obligated to help out in any faculty for science club. So in the event that your king and queen does not intend to help out science club in any publication, or is putting on a very poor behavior after that, what are your corrections?
Okay, thank you, Gordon. So, firstly, to address, okay, sorry, wait. Okay, so I think the most important thing before we even get them in as contestants is managing expectations. What am I going to expect of you when you come into BASH as a contestant? Because as I mentioned before, I want to have a clear identity. I know that I want to be inclusive. I want to be more down to earth. So that will be my expectation for BASH contestants. I hope that whoever I pick in will be, as in our committee pick in, will be what we hope to present science as lah. Yeah, so definitely it's not an obligation, but I think it would be great if the person has initiatives to do that. And personally, I know that Science Bash has greater power in choosing who the Science King and Science Queen are. So we have to use that vote wisely. We know who has put on a good behavior, who has been, not good behavior, but who has been trying to immerse themselves in the science experience more as a science member. Yeah, so I think that definitely we have to take that into account. Yeah, and after this event, after the incident has happened, we have to deal with it another way. So definitely, I think it's disappointing to us when we hear someone representing BASH has put on a bad behavior. So Okay, wait. Yeah, so I think I will, okay, when I first hear about the incident, I'll have to clarify with the person about how this happened, why did this happen, and understand, okay, let me just assume it's a guy, and understand why did that incident happen from him. So that I can go in with a better context instead of accusing him for whatever he has done. Yeah, and afterwards, definitely from understanding context, I will know how to better approach it. If it comes from a bad intention, then definitely it's very uncalled for. I think we need to address it properly. But if it's incidental, accidental, and there is reasons for it to happen, we can resolve it in a more peaceful way. Yeah, and hope that we will not create such a big commotion about it. Yeah.
So, in a hypothetical situation, none of your batch core members are accepted into SCMC. Upon checking with the same director, she mentioned that one of the interview questions is, why do you wish to join SCMC? And all your members answer that they are joining due to batch. What would be your course of action then?
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Nishan, for your question. So,
Sorry.
okay, so addressing this issue, definitely it falls back again to managing expectations. So when they come into the subcom during the interviews, it's very important to lay out the expectation that even when you join Science Com, you're joining a bigger collective of the science club. So I hope that you are joining this experience to, as in you're joining this committee to experience the full science experience, you know. Yeah, so that is the expectations that I'll set. So when you go for SCAM, even though you want to scout contestants there, I hope that you are enthusiastic about participating in events, you want to make friends, you want to help freshmen integrate better into university life. So that's the expectation that I will set. And if you straight up tell me that I'm not gonna meet those expectations, I'm here just to do my best thing, I just want to forward whatever I hope to develop, then I think you are not a good fit for the team, because there is a bigger collective that I have to think about. Yeah. And then targeting that specific incident, I think if it happens, okay, definitely before they even go for interviews, I will definitely say, not definitely, I will like tell them, I have a brief lah, like if you want to go for SCAM, I hope you go with a genuine interest. And also, generally, we want to go for it because we want to meet freshmen. That's how we meet like our closest friends in science. Yeah, so it comes from a good place lah. Like we wouldn't want to go in and just scout for batch. It's very meaningless. And when you go in with that mindset, you just won't have fun. Yeah. So, but if this happens, I will have to talk to my committee members about when the SCAM director comes to me about this, I will go and talk to my committee members about why this has happened. Yeah, like where are they coming from? So I thought that maybe you want to join SCAM because you're interested in it, you want to meet people, you want to have fun, but why was this your main reason? I assume they told them it's the main reason. Why is this your main reason? I know this could be part of the reason, but there should be a bigger reason for yourself to go into that situation. If not, it's just really very meaningless for yourself. Yes. After that, I will have to talk to the SCAM committee, SCAM director specifically, whether it's possible to arrange like a re-interview in a way, because I hope that I'm able to shift some mindsets within my committee and help them understand their purpose better, and then go for the interview so that they know why they are there and what they can do for our SCM. Yeah, so that's how I will approach this.
You mentioned that Dash is never selecting the participant or contestant based on looks, right? Then previous question you also mentioned that during scan payment you will be taking Dashcom will be taking photo of the Dashman. So then why is Dashcom taking photo in scan payment and actual scan, even the fact that Dashman already sent their photo to either the SCMCom or the OG chat?
Thank you. Okay, thank you for your question. So to address this, firstly, I think indeed we are not trying to base off looks, but yeah, and we cannot tell talent from a photo, but through a photo you can actually tell a lot how a person carries themselves, whether they look confident, how they smile, their posture. I think it can tell. A photo can tell a lot, and also the reason why we are doing this so before like giving us a time period before SCM, it's to allow us to, because there's so many participants for SCM, and we want to be able to narrow down to a few so that we don't have to, during SCM, creepily go take photos of like everybody that we find possibly outstanding. Yeah, so that gives us a grace period to really narrow down our options and reevaluate our choices. Yeah, I understand, even though it's based on looks, it gives us a narrower scope to scout during SCM. Yeah, so that actually addresses why solely the OG photos and the OG photos are not enough. Actually, I don't really know what do you mean by them sending in their photos with SCM.
For example, my when they sign up, they have to upload their photos. So given the fact that it scans not actual sign up has this option also, we can just show you, we can just forward you the photo.
Okay.
Disagree. That's why you are need to personally come up with the photo.
Okay. Okay, definitely with spontaneous photo taking, there's a pinch of spontaneity there, right? Yeah, so it shows us how someone behaves on like when they're on their feet. It's not like they are very put together. They go into a photo, they go to the camera and like smile and like they just look very put together. But that is not what we want to have. We want it to be very candid. So when you come into when you walk around science, you're not gonna put on your like formal wear or like walking around science. So we want it to be very casual. When people see you, that's how you are. Yeah. So that's what we take into consideration when we take pictures during SCM payment. Yeah.
Yeah, the proposal for 15 minutes time for Q&A.
You comment on the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of the previous use of software, and how are you going to, as you said, bring it to a larger scale?
Okay, thank you, Hong Jie, for your question. So, addressing the effectiveness, because the repurpose that we just had earlier this year is the first iteration of this event. So definitely there are a lot more things that we can consider and work on moving forward. Yeah. So firstly, we'll have to refine it to suit the needs of science students better. So one way that I see we can make it to bring it to a larger scale is to introduce incentives for them to do it. Because right now it's a very one-way, not one way, but in a way they have no incentive to come lah. Like we are just setting a booth here, we are selling thrifted clothes at a cheaper price, but it's not a very big attraction to them. Yeah. So what I want to introduce is a credit system. So so we'll set a date where a period of time where people can come in and donate their clothes that are in good condition. So yeah, but so pre-loved, so they may not want to wear it anymore, but they are in good condition lah. Yeah. So after that, we'll do one round of like sorting and putting, and hopefully we can sanitize it. Yeah. And then we like put like a price on it. Yeah. So those who donate their clothes will get a certain amount of credits based on the amount of price that we put on the clothes they've donated. And then afterwards, we'll put out another event, which is the actual thrift shop event. And then they will come in and purchase clothes with the credits. So this incentivizes them because they are like, oh, if I donate clothes, I can get back clothes for free. Like I don't even need to like top up anything unless you buy a lot lah. Yeah. So this is one way that I want to refine our project. And another way is to perhaps make it trendy. So I think you all know that thrifting has been on the rise recently. So people really, so thrift shops are gaining a lot of traction. People like upcycled clothes. Yeah, so I think this is one way we can go in. So we can introduce a hashtag, yeah, because that is very attractive to the current population that we have. Yeah, and yeah, so people see their friends using this and they'll be like interested. Oh, what's this? Maybe I want to go for it as well. And I think it's a very good way to attract more people to come onto this. Yeah, and also we still maintain a sense of exclusiveness to science population. So only science people can do this. Yeah, and then they'll feel like, wow, I can do this. Yeah. Thank you.
So if the communication director approaches you plan to collaborate with him the photo walk event, the communication subcommittee plan, as well as outline your thought process and concept.
Thank you. Hi, Zoe, can you specify what target audience is for the photo walk for? Okay, thank you. May I know the interest level of the general science students towards the photo walk? Can I clarify when is it usually held?
It can be included because normally it's held after all the so maybe week 1 but it can be filtered according to the timeline of the time.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the question. So generally, personally, I'm open to the idea of a collaboration, but there are many factors I need to consider. So firstly, I'll have to consult my subcom and mainly my exco on their thoughts about this issue, thoughts about this collab. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting, but there's a lot of manpower issues and like how are we going to integrate these two events of very different nature. So photo walk is generally catered for science population to take photos, but for BASH, our limelight event is to provide a photo shoot experience for them. So it's very different, and it may be difficult to integrate them into one event. However, I think it's okay. So after considering stakeholders, there will be communications with the communications director. Moving forward, I think the idea of this collab is great, but the way I would immediately come up with a solution for your proposal would be to integrate a bit of photo walk into limelight to help increase the exposure for your photo walk, because currently I understand the interest level is not very high. So when people come for limelight, perhaps they can perhaps maybe the comms committee can give a little brief about, oh, if you're interested to take to go on a mini photo walk during this event, there are so many people dressed up, and you can seek agreement from them to like maybe take photos, and maybe it can be like a mutual thing. Yeah, so it will not be closely integrated, but I think we can help increase the exposure for this event. And when a photo walk happens, we can also step in to provide any guided. Okay, I understand that comms is probably very proficient with photo grid taking, but if there's anything we can help with, I think we are very willing to step in and help. Yeah, I hope this answers your question.
One of the sponsors has been contacting one of the contestants regarding some external promotional events. She informed you that she's feeling very uncomfortable. How will you do?
Okay, thank you for your question. Let me think about it. Okay, thank you, Jun Kai. So I believe the main stakeholders in this are the sponsors, the contestant affected, as well as my committee. Yeah. So sorry, and perhaps other contestants. Yeah. So firstly, addressing the sponsor, before we even get the sponsorship, there must be an official agreement written in. There will be a official agreement signed by us, signed by them, and within it will include a clause that talks about how this kind of behavior is not allowed. If anything, please look for our committee directly. Yeah. So from there, I'll have to involve my committee, mainly the marketing com, to talk to the sponsors about this situation. Because okay, to talk about this, but behind the scenes, we'll have to support them, and we have to come to a collective decision with how to move forward. If this is a very important sponsor, I know it's very difficult to let go of the sponsorship. Then we have to reconsider how we want to move forward, whether it's a warning or yeah, we'll have to discuss about this. Yeah, and then next, it's about the contestant who's affected. It's very unfortunate for something like that to happen, because the contestant, as I have shown in my stakeholder slides, they are our top priority, because they are the ones putting up the show, they are the ones dedicating the time into this. However, to make them feel so uncomfortable, I think it's very regretful. Yeah, but definitely we'll have to sit the person down and talk it out with the person. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about this this issue and how we can move forward from here. Yeah, we have to understand how this came about as well. How did the direct contacting happen? How did the contestant handle this situation? And I think there's a lot of considerations to go from there. And so that's why the root of the issue is so important.
So my second question is, as you know, Dashcom has always been used by the hall as a venue. So over the years, the price for booking Jordan Hall has increased, and it became a big part of the budget. So as you noticed, and came up to you personally and demanded that you change to a cheaper location. So can you tell me how will you address this situation?
Okay, thank you, Jun Kai, for your question. So let me just assume that this was set when we are halfway through looking for locations. Yeah. So definitely when our programs start to look for locations, they'll look for a few locations, and they will put out a cost benefit analysis for all of them. So so definitely we'll consider a few different locations, and we'll see and throughout the years, indeed, Jordan Hall has been the best location for us. So if the facilities, the location, everything really outweighs the cost, and comparing with other, definitely this is all while I'm communicating with the programs com, with the admin team, all that. Yeah. So collectively, if we think that Jordan Hall is the best location and we really have to secure this place, then I think we have to consider other aspects of our budget, how we are going to allocate our budget. Like maybe we need to shift some things around, prioritize. Yeah, but if Jordan Hall really is the best location, then I think we will go forward with it. However, definitely, I understand the concerns and we will seek different locations to lay out the analysis to explain it to you why it's the best location. Yeah, I mean, it may not be, but as of last year's situation, Jordan Hall has been the best.
Do you think BASH events should exist as an individual project separated from Science Club and FOP, and then why?
Then can I assume that now we are as a whole, and whether you're proposing that we make it separate from FOP and Science Club? Okay, Zenda, thank you for your question. So about this issue, I think it involves a lot of opinions, whether it's the subcommittee or even the general science population, whether they want to see it as a different event altogether. Yeah, so considering these people, I'll have to, okay, firstly, maybe my subcom, why did they join BASH committee? I don't think they just want a sole BASH experience, but they want a full science experience. They want to go for SCAM, go for SAL, and get to know people, get them to come for BASH, and it's all integrated into one, yeah, which is why it's one FOP, yeah. So I think it's very important to take note of that, yeah. And then another thing is why we don't want to separate ourselves from FOP and Science Club is because our support base is from FOP and Science Club. When the BASH event is held, people know about it because of SCAM, because of SAL, people come to support because of the friends they've made in SCAM and SAL. So I think that in itself is very important to us because of the support. If there's no support, then there's no BASH. Yeah. So I don't think it should be separated. Yeah. And generally, it will be very strange to see us being separated from FOP and Science Club because we have been so integrated. What will, okay, not to be very on the surface, but what will people from other faculties view us? Like, we are not very united because we are separating events and when they already come together. Yeah. So that will be my main concern.
Discuss the relevance of limelight, given that the majority of the attendants for the event are MC members and subcommittees.
Hi Zenda, thank you for your question. So addressing the relevance of limelight, honestly, I think it's a very interesting event to promote photography to students because many people may not be exposed to the idea of a photo shoot. Yeah. However, about your point, how only MC members and subcom members come for the event, I think that could be, okay, I think that is something we need to work on. We have to increase our publicity for this event, know the right people we are reaching out to, because actually when I speak to the people around me, they are very interested in this event, but they don't know it even exists in science. Yeah, so I think there is a relevance. I see people actually interested in it, and it also helps our parks team to develop their skills through this experience. Yeah, so yeah, and I think it's a win-win situation for a lot of stakeholders here. Yeah, like different committees come in, they take their photos, and it boils down to boosting confidence, right? Yeah, so I think it really, everything really ties in with this event as a pre-bash teaser. Yeah.
So in one of the answers you mentioned that the contestants are scouted from them. So a person science freshman came up to you and mentioned that he or she felt that it's unfair, that he or she is not scouted just because she did not go for SCM. Because for SCM, they normally only accept people who can make it for entry relation due to the popularity of the SCM. All I want to example.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Zong, for the question. So I think regarding this, I think I'll have to involve my admin team and come to a collective agreement how to deal with this situation. But right now, from what I am hearing, I think definitely this must be addressed to this person. If not, words of mouth spread, and like there will just be rumors spreading around lah, and it's nasty. So firstly, I think that the main one reason why we scout from SCM is because SCM is the first FOP that freshmen are exposed to. So when they come in, they and one criteria that we want to select in contestants is personality. Personality. And I think it reflects a lot from SCM. By joining SCM itself, it's a step for you to step out of your comfort zone to make new friends, experience uni life to the fullest. So I think as an opening event of FOP, it shows a lot through your participation. So I think that is one aspect why we will choose, why I will explain to the person why we are selecting for SCM. Yeah. Another thing is, I mean, this event, a bash itself, we can only accommodate 12 contestants. So, even though it's a small number, it's very hard to find. So we really have to start early. And okay, wait. Okay, I won't tell the person that, but I will know that. Yeah. So, yeah. So I will. Okay, so what I will say to the person is, through SCM, we find contestants that fit our criteria, whether it's talent, confidence, the aura they exude. So that is our first exposure to science freshmen, and I think it's reasonable to start from there because, yeah, it's our first, yeah, if you join SCM, it just shows that you want to participate in science more, and it reflects a lot more about yourself. Yeah. And And I hope that I can address this issue with the person and really resolve it and not let this snowball to a bigger issue. Yeah.
I have a proposal to close the Q&A for nominee study list for the portfolio of best director for qualified science management committee. Then second first motion. Are there any votes of no confidence for study list for the portfolio of best director for qualified science management committee? Are there any votes of no confidence for study list for the portfolio of best director for qualified science management committee? Are there any votes of no confidence for study list for the portfolio of best director for qualified science management? Are there any seconders for this motion? Sorry. Yes. No. 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 Yes. Yes. No. No.
A has struck the board of confidence and reliable for risk-based and risk trading. He has struck the board of confidence for the role of the best director for the first time summation. And not liable for risk-based and risk trading.
I have a proposal for 15 minutes rate from 1020 to 1035.
So don't you can keep a load of things to go on to do
Then the second half of this motion. So, Sabrina.
PFOP 啊？
不是你的 batch 炒房烧评论。
哦，对呀、对呀、对呀、对呀、其实主要是天啊。
I have a proposal to redo the internal elections for qualified Science Club National Committee. Tong
Why does the SCMC Committee propose to resume the election for the qualified Science Club National Committee?
May I have a second for this motion? May I have a proposal to open the representation and Q&A for the document 20 days for the portfolio of best director for qualified Science Club National Committee? Brenda. May I have a second for this motion? Tong Yin.
So why does the committee against?
20 minutes, you have 20 minutes for presentation and 30 minutes for Q&A. We begin when you're ready. May take us to start the timer.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back. So there are a few things that I did not manage to consider. So I think I can involve my stakeholders to a larger degree and involve um, more of them. So firstly, very directly, I should work with my VPFOP. Any updates, any updates, I should let him know so that he's kept in the loop. And if other committees, other directors look for him, he knows that there is this issue happening, and he can address it with them as well, lah. Yeah, with fuller context. Yeah. Not necessarily to step into conflicts, but just at least knowing it. And another thing with SDO is if they look, usually they will look for VPFOP as the breach of communication, but if they look directly for me, then there must be, and for example, the venue issue, then I'll have to be able to negotiate with them, know my priorities and um, what's best for Bash for support. If anything, I should look for them and um, just be open with communication, keep them in the loop if there's anything related for them to know about. Yeah. And regarding my budget, I also need to talk more to the committee. Yeah, to so that I know I keep him in the loop and he can update me with the budget situation. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. And the various MCs lah, yeah. Okay, another thing that I have to work on is my course of action. So uh, I think my thought process is okay, but when I come into action, I have to first stop the issue, resolve the issue at the point of incident, but afterwards talk to the various parties that are affected to fully resolve it. Yeah. Yeah, and then speaking of fairness of scouting of contestants, it's not just from SCAM. Half of them are also from SAO. So I need to be clear about it, and um, when addressing any doubts about our fairness in selection, I should be able to tell them that as in we look on a fuller as in we see from a bigger picture, we'll see from SCAM, we'll see from SAL, we'll look at your personality, we'll look at your talents, everything. So it's generally a fair process if you sign up for these events. Yeah. Okay, another thing on the topic of SAL, whether Bash contestants should participate in SAL, I think firstly, it's something that we can manage expectations for as well. When they come in, we tell them that we won't directly tell them. We can ask them like whether you are interested in going for SAL as well. It's a part of your uni experience, but lay it down that it's generally required for them to go for it. So and prep them for it lah. Yeah, and then addressing it to the SAL director. If there are people who go for both SCAM and SAL, then the exception for Bash contestants shouldn't be that big an issue. Yeah. Anyway, they are all experiencing the freshman experience. Yeah. Okay, then going back to the question about scams, photo taking, I think linking it back with my course of action, I have to stop the flow of photos and alert my com not to take photos of the particular person at all for the rest of the camp's duration. Yeah, because we may violate PD. No, that is okay. But so okay, wait. Yeah, so for scam, they cannot just circulate their photos, be it from sign-ups or photos they send in the OG, because it might violate PDPA rules. Yeah. Okay. And then for bash fees, for bash fees, it shouldn't be completely free of charge for science because for anyone because there may be doubts about where our budget goes to. Why do we not need to compensate for that? The timer stopped as in the screen blank. Why do we not need to compensate for that? Yeah. And then I need to understand more from the Fonty about how our budget is balanced out. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then speaking of the relevance of Science King and Science Queen, it's not just what we portray to people outside of our faculty. It's also a reflection within our faculty. When people see them, they generally will hold them of high standard. They want and they imagine them to be the as it should be someone that they feel represents them and maybe in a way look up to. Yeah. So whether it's through their confidence, their talents, and their involvement in science, how active they are. Yeah. And another consideration for scams is if my seniors actually approach them and tell them just because they want to scout during scam that they want to join scam and they are rejected, then I should negotiate with the scam director that I accept this decision, but it would be great if you can push them up the priority list. I can justify for you why like their background, whether they've been actively involved in science events, and hopefully you can push them up the priority. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And everything boils down to consent and good communication with different stakeholders in this issue, in the issues that I may face in as a batch director. Yeah, thank you.
So you have 7 minutes and 16 seconds left for presentation.
Yes.
So a proposal to open the Q&A for nominee Chen Yilin for portfolio of best director for 41st batch comment. May I have a proposal? May I have a second about this motion? Chen Yilin, you now have 30 minutes for Q&A. Subhana.
I have a question for you. When you answer, I have a question. Suppose we hear that one of the contestants do not want to attend South because there have been comments from a batch subcommittee member that it is a boring academic camp. What will you do?
Okay, thank you, Sobana. So, suppose that one of my contestants don't want to join SAL because the seniors have told them that SAL is boring and it's a boring academic camp. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, again, linking back to what I talked about, I want to manage expectations. When they join, whether it's during interviews, I will tell them this, or before we even take in contestants, there must be a brief about what kind of behaviors I expect of them, my subcom, and what not that I want to dictate what they want to do, but it's good to set clear guidelines on the way they should behave. Yeah, so definitely one of them is to not like inculcate this view in the contestants, because I get that it's a real issue that people do say this kind of things, but I think it's something that we should treat seriously, because this has resulted in quite a bit of disruption. And no, like, this hasn't really caused a big disruption, but it is a real issue, so we should tackle it. So before we even take in contestants, there must be a brief about this. But if this already happened, then I would want to talk to the seniors first to let them, as in my bash subcom, to know that this should not be the behavior that they should be exhibiting. They should not be telling the contestants this, because as a whole, I believe they see value in SAL as a place where we can either scout for contestants, or we can bond together and make more friends. Yeah, so there is value in SAL, and so the way I approach it is to first tell the seniors this should not be the mindset they inculcate to juniors, and yeah, I'll talk to them, and afterwards I'll talk to the contestants about how they get to meet other people, and they can make friends, make their student life, enrich their student life, and they can invite their friends over to watch them, which is a proud moment for them as well. Yeah, and I think it's very important for them to find a reason for themselves to go for SAL. Yeah, so that's something that I'll base it on. Okay.
Even the fact that over the years, the number of people that got scout from SAL, right, decreasing. Okay, so explain the rationale of yours still having to start in SAL.
Okay. Sorry, the computer went off again. Okay, thank you, Sobana. I think there is relevance to scouting from SAL, because, okay, I understand that there are timeline issues. We want to find contestants early and get them in so that they can start practicing the items that they want to put out. And we want to have, as in we don't want to be scarring over the fact that there will be no contestants, because SAL is already at a later timeline. Yeah, but I think it's important to scout from SAL, and especially the payment period, so that it strikes a balance, that we achieve diversity. So there are people who, okay, so in general, it's to ensure fairness. People will be questioning us if we only scout for scam and not from wait, let me. Yeah, like the question that that was previously raised about how someone who did not go for SAL was not selected. So we want to so internally we know that we are open to the option of scouting from SCAM and SAL, and we can justify it to people who are questioning us why we are not being inclusive of other camps. Yeah, so and also in general it allows for diversity within us as well. So I think there's only this many people who can go for SCAM, but there may be greater talents, greater people who are suited for BASH that go for SAL. So there is the relevance there. Yeah.
Is the reasoning that we are racist due to the lack of racial diversity among the how will you address it?
Okay, thank you, Zenda. So about this issue, I think the first thing that I'll do is to find out who started this petition and what I can do to stop it from spreading further. Because to the base of it, I know this is not true, and uh, this is not the image that I want to portray of BASH, of science BASH. So if anyone is going out there, putting out a petition, which is quite a serious act, and trying to bring us down, I think it's just not right to do that in the first place without even talking to me, without understanding our context. So actually, I'll not be happy about it. However, I think before I do any concrete actions about this, because it's already in the public eye, I'll have to consult perhaps my VP FOP, even the president, or maybe, and they will perhaps talk to SDO because they may have heard of it also. Yeah, to tackle this issue. But I think it's important for us to address this as well so that people know that that is not our intentions. Yeah. And prevent and to resolve it so that the issue won't snowball and people won't like hop onto that and talk bad things about BASH. Yeah.
Your VPFOP claims that he doesn't know anything about how BASH is run. How do you think you can involve your VPFOP more with the planning / running of BASH events?
Okay, thank you, Sandra. So the way I'll tackle this is if the VPFOP doesn't know how BASH is run, the first thing that I'll do is definitely clarify. Maybe we can sit down and talk about it, so that I explain everything clearly from our fringe events to the actual BASH night itself. That's one thing. I think clarifying is very important, and also open communication, which is what Jeff has mentioned a lot of times before. If he has any issues, if he has anything that is unclear about BASH, he should just ask me directly and clarify it in case he has extra doubts about anything else. Yeah, and another way I can assure him is to constantly update him about our progress. It doesn't have to be very, very frequent, but if there's major decisions made, he should know about it. The reason why I don't think he should be even more involved is because I think there will be an overstep, perhaps. Like for example, adding him into the group chat, I think it will be a bit too much, because my team members may feel that because I want to build trust in my team. So I think by doing that, it can reach a bit of trust. Why do we need someone else in a way looking over what are we doing? Does he not trust our work? Yeah, so I think open communication is definitely very important, and just sending a lot of updates. Yeah.
I'd like to comment on this quote. It is inherently unfair that incoming freshmen are basically forced to make a choice between these events, REC, BASH, and IFG, as each director refuses to allow freshmen to be a part of all three events.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
It is inherently unfair that incoming freshmen are basically forced to make a choice between these events, REC, BASH, and IFG, as each director refuses to allow freshmen to be a part of all three events.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Joy, for the question. Firstly, so you said that it's unfair for freshmen to be forced to make the choice, right? But I think it's also unfair for those who are in this event, who are involved in these events to dedicate all of their time to these events, but seeing someone else who's putting in less effort than them. Yeah, so this is I think it has to be a choice between REC and BASH, specifically REC dancers. Yeah, because the timelines really overlap, and I think that is the main concern. The timelines overlap, and there is no way we can deconflict because of the amount of commitment you need to put into this event. So that's the forced choice between REC and BASH. I don't think it's unfair. I think it's a choice you have to make lah. Yeah, and personally, I think if you want to do something, then you really give it your best and do it well. If you want to divert your energy into two commitments with such high such time-consuming timelines, then I think it's not right on your part as well. As for IFG, I think as batch director, I am slightly more understanding in this sense. I wouldn't force them to make a choice, but I would advise against them joining IFG as well, because okay, the reason why I won't force them to make a choice, because bash when you come into uni, I think it's something unexpected. You don't expect yourself to be chosen for bash, but IFG is something that perhaps you've done in school, and you know that you come in knowing that is what I want to do in my uni life. So they already have that priority. I think it's understandable for them to pursue that. However, what they have to balance is their personal time management, whether they know they can whether they are overextending themselves. I think it's something that they have to know very well. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it's unfair to be forced to make a choice between rec and bash, but I will be slightly more open to the idea of them going for IFG as well.
There are a proposal for making a entire session for each grade. Second for the motion agenda. Because set the title when the time is for the in your key or yes, I have two questions for you. Firstly, can you explain to me why eco-friendliness is a key and core focus of Dash, given that it plays no role in the enhancement of the better experience?
Okay, thank you, Gordon, for the question. So why eco-friendliness should play such a big role in BASH, even though it has no enhancement in the freshman experience, right? I think firstly, what I want to address is we have a platform, and I think it's rather big. People know about it and people pay attention to it. So we should put it to good use and be part of something bigger than ourselves. So we want to raise awareness for a bigger goal. Yeah, and we have chosen it to be environmentalism. And why we chose to do that, I think it really is in line with science as a whole, because yeah, a lot of things, I think climate change, or that it boils down to science, and also I think it's something that we can all play a part. There's a low barrier to entry for general students, so it's something that we want to promote. And also I think I do have committee members who want to join this committee just because they believe in this cause and they hope to bring it to a larger scale. In terms of marketing, we source for sustainable sponsors, or just in the events we try to reflect our vision. Yeah, so honestly, I don't think even though Bash itself is a freshman experience, we hope to extend it beyond freshmen and cater to a greater science population through our events throughout the year. Yeah, that's why we think that eco-friendliness can play such a big role.
So for the second question, they say in a particular situation that you receive feedback from the EWP survey that the general science population feels that eco-friendliness is initiative of the previous batches and is shown to be not well received and outdated among the science population as of today. And BASH is a new course. Can you please outline your course of action?
Okay, thank you for your question. Firstly, I don't think eco-friendliness is outdated. I think if anything, it's more relevant than ever because of climate change, and there are just so many things that we can do about it, and we are starting small from here. However, I think the first thing I want to do is to understand why there are such sentiments. I want to maybe put out a survey, understand why students are feeling this way, and I want to, through the survey, explain our views about this issue as well. So, yeah, so I think that is how I will approach this. Definitely with communications with my committee, and maybe I can consult my VPFOP about how he thinks about our course. But in my previous during his presentation, I asked about whether he supports this course. I think he's in for it. So I think on a general sense, I think this is a very relevant cause that we're promoting, but I want to understand where this sentiment comes.
According to your event, the BASH contestants break down 1 week before the lecture day and you get to pull out of the event entirely. Outline your course of action.
Okay, thank you for your question. So if approaching the event 1 week before a participant breakdown and wants to pull out entirely, so my thought process, before I even, okay, back to managing expectations. So before the person even comes in, I think there must be a word of commitment from the person, best trainings, final night, extra practices, because to be better prepared. Yeah, I think all that has to be laid out for the contestants. But what I can do on my part with my committee is throughout their journey as a contestant, we should ensure their well-being throughout, because there's just, yeah. So I think well-being is very important, whether they are too stressed, whether they feel comfortable doing any of the performance. Yeah, I think it's actually one of the top priority for us, because they are the ones holding the show. If they are not there, then um, there's like nothing to the show, you know? Yeah, so however, if this really happens, I think the first thing I would do when the person is breaking down, I will have to calm the person down. I'll talk to the person directly. I think I'm in a role to mediate in this situation and comfort her in this situation. Yeah, so I want to understand why she's feeling this way, whether it's like extra commitments or really just Bash is causing so much stress to her, or there's just something she's uncomfortable about and she has been holding it for too long. Yeah. I also want to know how I can step in and help her without her pulling out of Bash. Explaining to her her role is really big. She's one of 12 people who will be putting up a show for hundreds of people. Yeah. So, or maybe like stage fright. She has stage fright. Yeah. But then I think it's really about how I can step in and help her, proposing ways to help her overcome anything she faces. If I can help, I definitely will try my best. I will tap on my subcom, tap on other contestants, because in general, I think within Bash, we want to promote like a family spirit, yeah, so that we are support for each other. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, my dash is the only dash that holds dash and all other dash. That holds their identity. What are your considerations with like where to go?
Okay, thank you for your question. So building on Xander's clarification, arts also hold their Bash in a slightly more formal setting. And I think it really boils down to what kind of atmosphere we want to give to the audience. For example, theirs is more editorial and they want to hold it in such a space where people feel a certain way. But for ours, we want to hold it, we want to make it elegant. We want to make people feel like they're attending okay, not feel like they're attending, but I want to make it formal so that people see it as they should come with high standards lah. Yeah. So that's what we hold for ourselves. Another thing is through the welfare survey, we also collect feedback about how actually audience they prefer to have it held in an event hall, which is in line with our ideas because it caters to a wider range of people. We offer the option of a after event, which people can go for, but in general, if you want to cater to a greater audience, for example, there may be siblings who are younger who wants to come and support, and there may be elderly who are not willing to stand in the club for such long hours. Yeah, we want to cater to these people. And yeah, and from there, we actually will want to look at like the capacity of the event hall, event space to see how we can suit our audience into it. Yeah. Another thing is I think the sponsors that we attract, if we hold ourselves in this kind of with this kind of setting, I think people generally we as in the image that we portray attract a certain kind of sponsor, and that is the vision that we have decided to go with, and I think we are going to stick with that. Yeah. It's okay. Can I clarify whether you mean like communications committee will come in and take photos of the event itself? Okay, sorry, can you repeat your question? Okay. Can I check if they've done that in the past? Okay. Thank you, Zenda. So regarding this, actually, I am pretty supportive of this idea. I mean, we've been doing it for the past few bashes. I don't see why we should not continue with that. Perhaps one of my main concerns would be maybe the comms committee, they want to come for bash as audience. So they want to immerse themselves in the experience instead of having to take photos for bash. Yeah. So if that's the case, I think I'm not sure if communications com has students has a student community to reach out to. Those who are interested can help cover events. If they have something like that, then I think they can reach out to the general science population if they want to cover the event instead of having themselves to cover it. But I think it would be great to have such a committee to come down and help us take photos, take videos. I think it would be great for publicity.
And then, like, how do you think this will affect the quality of the photos that turn up taken by the communication?
Okay.
And like, how will the quality of photos affect the image that we have? Usually, our photos being very
Mm. Can I check, like in the past few years, the photos that are taken during Bash Night are taken by Hongs? Okay. Okay, so to target your question, so regarding the quality of photos, from what I've seen online, I think it's generally acceptable and it does provide great publicity for our event. And also it's an ongoing collaboration. So it would be great to continue with it. However, maybe before the event, maybe before the collaboration is confirmed, we can request to take a look at their past photos, their portfolio about the quality that they hold themselves. Yeah, so definitely we committee maybe with the PubsCom, we can do like a mini QC and all that. Yeah, and see if it reaches our standard. If not, okay, wait. Okay, as in definitely, I want to trust in the committee. Yeah, but if it doesn't really reach our standard, then I think it would be cool to open up sign-ups for any science students who are interested in to help out. Yeah, because I think not only does this help us create higher standards, it also provides an opportunity for science students to build on their photography skills in a way. Yeah. Mm.
outline your thought process. This is just assuming that this will
It's okay.
this is some question, I do my second question first.
Yeah.
Due to the large number of audience, in a situation whereby an audience member thinks it lazy and performance, outline your thought process and outline your content.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your question. For your first question, okay, wait, give me a moment, sorry. Okay, thank you for your question. For the first question, how will we scout if Sal goes for fast pay options? Yeah. Okay, I don't think I can give a very confirmed answer for now because I definitely have to talk to my subcom, talk to VPFOP, talk to Sal about how this process can be facilitated. But I think then hopefully I will be notified of this situation early enough to discuss with to plan ahead to plan ahead for our actions, whether we need to scout more during SCAM or explore options maybe during SAL. Maybe there will be okay. I'm not sure how the details will go, but maybe before SAL there will be like an introduction and okay. Yeah, I think this can be up for discussion, but definitely I think it involves a lot of stakeholders and how we want to move from there. Yeah, because I think there are a lot of considerations, how fair this process would be and how whether there's an invasion of privacy. And for the second question, if there's a large number of audience and one of the audience member faints midway through the performance, I think the very first thing is the first aid crew has to go on yeah, and definitely we'll have to have them on standby, and if such a situation happens they must be quick to act. Yeah, and if there is a need then we'll have to call for an ambulance, and the very standard procedures for injuries related situation. At the same time, I think this is something we have to prep with the MC. If there's a unexpected situation, what will we do? Maybe we'll call for like a 15 minutes intermission and then and try to calm the people down, and yeah, and maybe I think it's a lot on the MC how they would handle this. Maybe they will have to yeah, I think calling for an intermission would be good so that people's minds are taken off this and they can go for a break, yeah, calm themselves down as well. Yeah. So I think, and I'll have to inform the relevant parties involved, maybe SDO, yeah, and other MCs who are there. If they can help me calm down the situation, then I would be really glad if they can do that. Get my subcom, yeah, to quick to act on it. Yeah.
I have a proposal to close the replay for the nomination if it is for the portfolio of best director for 41st. Second for this motion, agenda. Are there any votes of no confidence for Shirley Lin for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any votes of no confidence for Shirley Lin for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any votes of no confidence for Shirley Lin for the portfolio of best director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
Shirley Lin
you are now returned as a Batch Director for the 41st Science Club Management. So thank you all for trusting in me to take on this position. I will take all your considerations and yeah, I'll take all your considerations into I'll take it into consideration. Yes. And I'm really appreciative of all the questions today. Yeah, I think they'll really help me plan better for the event. Thank you.
I have a proposal to close the portfolio of Batch Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee.
So year 2 committee proposal to close the portfolio of Batch Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a seconder for this motion? We have a proposal to open the portfolio of Communication Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee.
I don't know year 2 committee proposal to open the portfolio of Communication Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a seconder for this motion? We have a proposal to open the nominations of portfolio of Communication Director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee.
I don't know year 2 committee proposal to open the nomination for the portfolio of Communication Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a seconder for this motion? Are there any nominations for portfolio of Communication Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for the portfolio of Communication Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for the portfolio of Communication Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? If there are no more nominations, may I have a proposal to close the nomination for portfolio of Communication Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
So year 2 committee proposal to close the nomination for the portfolio of Communication Director for the first Science Club Management Committee.
May I have a seconder for this motion? Yes, I just open the nomination for this. We have a proposal to open the portfolio of Batch Director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee.
So year 2 committee proposal to open the portfolio of Batch Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a seconder for this motion? We have a proposal to open the nominations for portfolio of Batch Director for the 41st Science Club Management Committee.
I don't know year 2 committee proposal to open the nomination for the portfolio of Batch Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a seconder for this motion? Are there any nominations for the portfolio of Batch Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for portfolio of Batch Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for portfolio of Batch Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? If there are no more nominations, may I have a proposal to close the nominations for the portfolio of Batch Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
So year 2 committee proposal to close the nomination for the portfolio of Batch Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a second for this motion? May I have a proposal to open the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
So year 2 committee proposal to open the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a second for this motion? May I have a proposal to open the nominations of portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee?
So year 2 committee proposal to open the nomination of the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a second for this motion? Are there any nominations for portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? Are there any nominations for the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee? If there are no more nominations, we have a proposal to close the nominations for the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for 41st Science Club Management Committee.
So year 2 committee proposal to close the nomination for the portfolio of Alumni Relations Director for the first Science Club Management.
May I have a second for this motion? We have a proposal to close Group 3 of the internal elections for 41st Science Club Management Committee.
So year 2 committee proposal to close Group 3 of the first Science Club Management.
May I have a second for this motion? We have a proposal to end the internal elections for 41st Science Club Management Committee. May I have a proposal to adjourn the internal elections of 41st Science Club Management Committee under co-option?
I don't year 2 committee proposal to adjourn the 41st Science Club Management Committee internal elections to co-option 2.
May I have a second for this motion?
配图啊。